Alright students, welcome to our next video. This one is on how to do discussions in Thompson Online. Discussions are really important in Thompson Online. They're important to your grade and they're important to every class almost. I can't think of any classes that don't have discussions. They're that important and they're a large part of your grade. It is also important in your discussions to do a good job. You can't just write a couple words or a couple sentences or put a statement like no or whatever, and expect to get any kind of grade for that. So I'm going to look at Harry Potter again here. He's logged in. He goes to his English 12 class. Now let's say in Harry Potter's case, he wanted to work on a discussion. He wanted to work on discussion number 2.06. So he had marked it the day before. So he goes to 2.06, right, under bookmarks, and he can get to it that way. Another way he might get to it would be to go to Tools and click on Discussions. There he can see all of the discussions for the class, right? It has the prompt and it also has the last post on that discussion from another student, okay? Now, one thing as you're doing these discussions, you need to notice, right? So, for example, Harry Potter's looking at discussion, the stories people tell. The characters and stories from the Canterbury Tales probably seem vastly different from those you're familiar with in your own life, but are they? So it's asking you, how do stories indicate who people are, what they value, and what scares them? So, what he would do then, click on the discussion. Now, there's two things you need to do. Number one, when you're answering a discussion, you need to start a new thread, put in the topic, and then write or, post a discussion. What we generally expect is at least one good solid paragraph on a discussion. Some kids write several paragraphs and they really get into this. But it's not something where you put 5 words or something, all right? You really need to spend a little bit of time on your discussions. There is spell check. So if your spelling's not checked and you don't have some halfway decent grammar, you're not getting any points. There's no reason not to use spell check and not to and that kind of stuff when it's right there, okay? If you want to, you could type it in Word first. I think that stories are really important. One story in my life, right? So Harry Potter, he could type it in Word first, and then he could copy and paste it when he gets his whole paragraph done. Copy it and then paste it into, right, the discussion prompt. Or you could type it right in there. You can also do insert stuff like a video note, which means basically you're going to record webcam video. Hello, that's me in the summer doing videos for you guys. The other thing he could do is a image, right? That's not really answering any questions, but it might be a part of his discussion. But there's a lot of ways to do this. Subscribe to this thread means that if other people reply to him or say something back to him like, hey dude, that's a great idea, then he's going to get a notification that someone did that, okay? You can even add attachments if you like, right? So that's one thing. That's the main way. That's how you get most of your points. Some of the teachers, myself included, in Thompson Online will also require that you always reply to another student. And you have to do that thoughtfully and in a meaningful way. Okay? So going back to the stories people tell. So what that would look like. So Grace wrote something. Then you would reply to the thread. You would reply to what the other student said. So she wrote, when meeting someone, you don't just say your name and be friends, you make small talk and get to know one another. Without stories, we would just be a name. By telling stories, you will automatically know if you will like that person. If they tell a story about hiking and you hate outdoors, then maybe not going to work out. It also indicates how open you are. If you come out of the gate with a deep, sad story, then you may be very open, and someone might or might not like that. So she's basically going on a little bit, but that's a good example of the kind of length we're looking for. That's a really good example. Okay, without stories, we wouldn't be anything. You know, it's her opinion, but it's great. It answers the question. There's no grammar mistakes to speak, really. There's no spelling errors. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for, and that we're looking for in Thompson Online. Now, in this case, though, Harry Potter knows he also has to reply to someone. So he would say, you know, Grace, great comment. I forget how powerful stories can be. So, in this case, he's doing both, right? So you have to write your own original thread, but you also have to reply to someone else's thread. So let me show that again one more time real quickly. But before I do that, I'm going to show you something else you may not notice yet. You can go to this home button. This shows all of your classes. It shows upcoming events. It shows your classes. He's in 4 classes right now. And it shows notifications. Don't have to worry if you have a lot of notifications. You know, you're not going to answer to or look at every reply or discussion that someone has in your classes, because some of them are huge and that would be crazy. But it does kind of show everything. Okay, so I'm going to go back into that class real quickly and show you one more time. So, 2 ways to do this. You can do it actually a couple different ways, but one way would be to do it within the class itself. So if you're in a unit, so unit 2.06, the Canterbury Tales, there it is, discussion, the stories people tell. Right, so you can do it that way. Okay. View topic, and that just allows you to subscribe to it or view the topic in a grid view. So you have to start a new thread. Basically that means you're answering the questions and responding to the prompt. Okay? Then the second thing you have to do is you have to go in and reply to what someone else wrote in a thoughtful, meaningful way. So there's what another student wrote, so you would reply. And that can just be a sentence in your reply. Okay? If your reply was huge, like you had 3 paragraphs replying to another student, that might work for the full points. But we really want you to do both. We want this to actually be a discussion. Okay? And then one more time, the other thing you can do, go to Tools, go to Discussions. So there's 2 different ways to approach, to look at your discussions. All right? I hope that helps. Have fun with it.